Once again, it's Uncle Makara, all relations. Let's get started today. This is a great topic, man. It's all about spiritual intelligence, okay? I've been watching a little bit of Project Kali as well as Aaron Abke. I watched a couple of his videos on this topic, and I wanted to give my own perspective, my own breakdown of this, because I truly believe, man, that I've had spiritual intelligence since I was a very young boy. And the way that I've cultivated it is such an interesting journey, okay? Because I had to go through the bottommost chakras, really evolve past the urgency on this journey and like really learning from it and being able to consider this journey so special, you know? Your own spiritual journey is so personal to you, and it's so special and subjective to you, that you have to gain a good understanding and have faith and courage and all of those great things to be able to differentiate truth from falsehood. You've got to stop judging yourself, right? There's a couple of things that you need to raise your spiritual intelligence score, okay? This is like leveling up in a video game. So let's look at it like that. Let's look at it like that. And let's get started today, okay? Hit the like and the subscribe button, man. You already know what it is, okay? Share this with a friend who might enjoy this topic and wants to learn more about this or want to break it down and so forth, okay? Number one, okay, there's intelligence, IQ. There's emotional intelligence, EQ. There's physical intelligence, PQ, okay? However, there's also something called spiritual intelligence, okay? And this is the best word that we have for it right now, right? Maybe the word will change in the future, but for right now, the word is spiritual intelligence. And there's certain people that can get tapped into altered states of mind, get the right kind of downloads, and really excel fast on their spiritual progress or their spiritual journey. So I'm gonna look through the notes here, and I'm gonna let you guys know my perspective on this. This is a huge topic, right? This is a huge topic, and we can't cover it all today. However, I will just kind of open the door for you so that you can start to learn about these concepts and really start to incorporate them, right, in your day-to-day, everyday life, okay? So, spiritual intelligence, or SQ, okay? When you gain spiritual intelligence, it actually raises the score of your other ones. That's the wild thing that I found, first and foremost, because if you have a very powerful and strong spiritual world, which is the substrate of this world that we're living in, right? We're living in this physical reality, and there's this metaphysical world that's constantly moving us, right? Guiding us from place to place, from timestamp to timestamp, from moment to moment. So first of all, when we understand that once I gain more spiritual intelligence, I'm gonna get better IQ, better EQ, better PQ, okay? And that's one of the fundamentals where we started Primal Sutra, understanding that once we really do the spiritual work, the other ones will start taking over, right? And in the beginning, we went way too priest or way too beast, and now we have a good balance of both of those energies within ourselves. And of course, I muscle test to check that we're on track and everybody's going well and all the adepts are, you know, thriving. And I make sure that certain nuances are covered, right? So if you have any questions around this, just let me know, whoever's watching live and so forth. Okay, let's get started. So once you've mastered the outer world, you gotta also know how to master the inner world, okay? So in the 21st century, a lot of us want to master the outer world, okay? Technology, fitness, okay? Doing certain things where we understand that, you know, we're amplifying our brains, we're using a lot of our minds, right? To create things. Hey there, Shark Puppet, great name. So, have you ever had an intuition that was so sharp that it was kind of freaky, right? You were like, how did I know that? Where did that come from, right? A sudden burst of insight or spidey senses that you got in a very specific moment where you were like, that doesn't make sense how I did that, right? That's spiritual intelligence. A lot of times you can't tell where that knowingness, that claircognizance, clairsentience, audience is coming from, because it's coming from an invisible realm. And you got to start to understand that you are also connected to that realm. Okay, so have you ever seen people integrate spiritual knowledge really quickly and efficiently and easily? Okay, that's a sign that you have a very high spiritual intelligence. Okay, so how fast can you integrate self-awareness? What's up, Mathis? Spidey senses, that's right. You know, you get the little tingles, you know what's coming, and you see it in a vision or a flash of insight. But there's certain people that can integrate spiritual knowledge very efficiently, quickly. Okay, this is what we're talking about. How fast can you integrate your self-awareness? Are you in self-inquiry at times? Are you examining your life? Unexamined life is a life that's not worth living. Whoever said that quote, right? So, how fast can you integrate it? Your capacity for self-awareness, or the speed at which you recognize truth from falsehood within, which is also called discrimination, okay? But let's not even see it like that, okay? Integration is speed and accuracy of embodiment of self-knowledge. So it's not a conceptual thing. It's very intuitive, okay? It's very direct experience. It's very gnosis-oriented, okay? To know something, to get the installations or the downloads from the source, from the spiritual world, okay? What exactly is this belief system, says Camp Crystal Lake? The belief system combines a lot of systems together, Camp. So it's difficult to say where exactly it's coming from. We know a lot from spiritual masters of the East, Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, and so forth. We also know a lot from mystic Christianity and, a lot of different schools of thought that overlap to create an omnisyncretic perspective where everything interconnects and interweaves, right? So I am everything, I am nothing at the same time. I'm lost. I'm watching you take pieces of Buddhism and Hindu. Yes, I thought so. Yeah, exactly. So it's a combination of everything, right? It's not like one thing. We love to believe in Bruce Lee's mentality, okay, of be shapeless, formless like water. If you ever read The Way of the Water, it's a great read, by the way, and just check it out. It's gonna give you some guidance, some roadmaps and cool things. Okay, thank you, man. Oh, we got Ryan G here as supreme moderator, okay, to kick out the clowns. Everybody is met at their spiritual evolution point of consciousness. Yeah. So it's the experience and intimacy with oneself, right? It's a merging of masculine and feminine. All right. So singularity, this is the scale, right? Root chakra insanity, sacral chakra sanity, solar plexus chakra empowerment, okay? Then we have awakening, illumination, mastery, singularity. Singularity is the crown, okay? Awesome, Renji. So it goes, I am the body, I am the person who's running this, I am the mind in the solar plexus, right? Because it's all ego-oriented. I am everything, which is the heart space, where you open up and you're like, holy crap, I'm my neighborhood too, right? As I started opening my heart chakra a couple of channelings ago, I remember, right? I was like tapping into the energies of like my neighborhood. Is wild, right? Then we have I am nothing. Then we have I am the self. Then we have at the crown I-E-Y-E of the I, of the identity, okay? So usually people's IQ on average is like 100. But what's really sad is the average SQ on the planet is like 45 to 50, okay? So we got to do better, guys, right? And this is partly why I'm making this video, so we can raise our consciousness and understand this thing a lot better. Now, how is this different from the levels of consciousness scale, right? You might have heard of Dr. David R. Hawkins, Power versus Force, okay? He has this consciousness chart going all the way from shame to enlightenment. You might have seen it. and above courage is truthhood, and below courage is falsehood, right? You might have known that, or you maybe know of that, okay? But look it up, do some research on that. That's more so a quality or attribute of consciousness, whereas this comes through states of consciousness, okay? This process. So the state, the I am state, or the mind-heart coherence state, or the flow state, or the channeling state, okay? These are different states of consciousness that come from within you, okay? So a lot of older souls who have been on the planet many times, they find one thriving spiritual process, and it's liftoff, right? For a lot of people. Because they quite possibly trained that in one of their past lives, right? So you could find yourself like, maybe I haven't done yoga for a while, but many years, and then suddenly I pick it up, and I start gaining really rapidly in that, like all of a sudden, right? And I gain the self-awareness and the quick integrations and all of the insights. Oftentimes, you know, gaining a lot of SQ as a byproduct. So, a person who's maybe chasing just sense pleasures, luxury, you know, again, it's not one or the other, and I get it. Like, there's a whole philosophy behind that, right? There's the Chanakya materialism. Most of the world is materialism nowadays, right? And so we gotta find a way to also balance that out, okay? Not only organize and analyze, but also go intuitively within, which is gonna raise your SQ level. So, what are some ways that you can bump up your score, okay? Number one, cultivation of inner silence. If you're just looking at a serene landscape, right? Nature, by a waterfall or something like this, right? You're gaining the cultivation of that inner silence. And through that, your SQ level is rising, right? Someone's telling you like, what are you doing going to, you know, Yellowstone Park or whatever? Well, I'm raising my SQ level, baby, right? So, single-pointedness or concentration is another way you do this. So concentration leads to meditation, right? As we learned from, who was that told us that? It might have been, was it Shivaji? Who did we channel that told us that? Anyway, so you have a single-pointedness, right? Self-examination, meditation, contemplation, self-inquiry, okay? Contemplating the source of creation too. It's like, why am I here? Who am I really? Why did I just react the way that I did, right? Why did I have this random thought? Who is the thinker of this thought, right? These kinds of very philosophical questions leads your SQ levels to go higher up. Now, you'll notice that civilizations collapse if they have too much IQ or too much SQ. I think there needs to be a balance between both, honestly, because with IQ you can get very technologically advanced and get a lot of, you know, great products out there in the marketplace and raise the economy and efficiency levels and so forth, right? Because we live in a hustle, let's go culture, right? But then also you see the ancient Egyptians, or something like the story of Atlantis you might have seen, or like flooding, or sometimes if you raise SQ, a flood or a natural disaster comes in, and then, you know, the philosophers don't prep for that in the mind. You guys get that? Like the philosophers are just philosophizing. So we need both, right? That's my perspective, at least. I don't know. What do you guys think of that, right? I want to know other people's comments on this, but I think it's a very, very important notion, right? That we need a right level of philosophizing as well as action taking, okay? Because one or the other, you're just going to be one of those guys who just, you know, write blogs instead of, you know, doing something with that information, okay? Now, the root chakra, let's start with the chakras, right? And then we can kind of explain it like that. So the root chakra is the I am the body, right? It's 1 to 50 according to the scale. It's the lowest level of awareness. It's like just survival, just your basic needs being met, you know, sexuality. And the obstacles sometimes are like, maybe you have a strong addiction to something, okay? You're addicted to stimulation or video games or porn or drugs, or trying to make it through the day, you know, just partying, drinking. We know a lot of people like this, okay? We know a lot of people like this, let's be honest. So what the mind is interested in at this level is basically identification with the body, okay? which leads to depression, anxiety, self-loathing. You know, the world is bad and evil. It's a harmful place, and I am a victim of this harmful prison planet. We all know people like this, okay? So nothing outside of itself can lead to happiness is the bridge where you start to rise up from the root, right? You have a stable sense of groundedness and security, which is important. But then from that groundedness and security, it's got to rise and teach you something about humility and being open-minded and not always getting even with someone, okay? Getting revenge. I'd rather be happy than be right, okay? So then we go into the sacral chakra, right? The sacral chakra is the sanity, okay? So this might be your interest in personal development or self-growth. You might be like, oh, now a person reading a lot of spiritual books and jargon, like a spiritual junkie, that does not necessarily raise your SQ levels. I'm just letting you know that, okay, right off the bat. Because I used to do that, right? Just read lots of different spiritual insights and just like consume and not really putting it into practice. So I'm saying whatever you read, okay, whether it be Manly P. Hall or, you know, some kind of like Law of One, okay, whatever you're reading, just make sure that you're applying it, okay? As you're watching this video, apply the things that I'm telling you, okay? Put it into action, okay? It's about what sticks, exactly. And that's one of the mentalities we follow too, is absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, add what is uniquely your own. Again, back to the man Bruce Lee, okay? Man, that guy's such a genius. Like, really though. Yeah, exactly. Theory without practice is still just theory, right? Still just theory. So this is in the sacral, you're like, okay, I'm a person who wants to have a successful career, relationship, health, and they aren't just a total victim in the state. The earlier one in the root, if you're stuck just in the root and the lower consciousness, then of course you will feel like a victim. You feel like they're still suffering. This has moderate to tolerable levels of suffering, and also moderate addiction to stimulation in this level. But mainly discipline, you know, self-responsibility, observing your thoughts. These kinds of things help in this stage, okay? Ryan G, that's so cringe. Could you kick this guy out? Bro, that's so out of pocket. I just want to improve, right? That's the state of the sacral chakra. I just want to improve. I just want to get better. I just want to go from one thing to the next. Why can't I get better? Why can't I improve? That's the sacral block. Then we go into the solar plexus where you understand, wait a second, I'm not just the body, okay? And I'm not just, you know, the person. I am also the mind, the ego, okay? I'm the ego. So moderate to tolerable suffering, you know, maybe you're getting like jealousy or envy or something like this, okay? You can do pretty much anything in this level, but again, make sure that you understand that in the solar plexus chakra, the spiritual ego is born, okay? That's its birthing place. So you got to understand that first and foremost, okay? When you go into the solar plexus, the spiritual ego is born. However, if it stays there, that's an issue. If you rise with it and you can be empowered by the idea of understanding that you have a spiritual ego and actually like zoom out at the same time, then it can actually be a very powerful catalyst, right? But for a lot of people, it leads to destruction. It's like an endless like chasing of the tail, right? So it becomes empowering after you raise it up and you work with it and you become an alchemist, right? Pain is an elixir for the alchemist, right? So you can transform whatever you're going through in this state into something greater. Now, spiritual practices could begin at this stage. You might start, you know, succeeding in relationships and so forth, okay? And you also got to understand that in the law of one, they call the lower three chakras, they call them primal rays, and then the spiritual rays, right? The three above, three below kind of, or you know, that mentality, right? And four above, right? So it's important for you to recognize this, that it's called the primal rays. You got to understand your primal nature as it's rising up, but also your spiritual nature as it's evolving, okay? The next thing we have is the heart chakra, okay? So my air conditioning is not working, so hold on. Just open this window. I don't know if there's going to be too much noise because of that, but irregardless. So it's damn hot today, bro. I'm sweating like a mofo. Sheesh. Today I had to walk back from the gym, leg day, in the morning. Sheesh. Awful, right? But again, that's my mind, okay? I am the body complaining. The body is complaining that I'm tired and that I'm hot or whatever, right? On the outside world. That's the thing. We have an internal temperature, right? An inner world temperature. And then we have an outer world temperature, right? So the way I think of it is like a thermostat. If you can control your inner world, it will slowly bleed into your reality. Your imagination will bleed into reality. And you really got to get this, right? So at times we get so caught up with the outer world, we feel drained, correct? That's because we're not empowering our SQ by going inwards. So if you have an as within, so without, external world and, you know, outer world, you know, like this, then it's powerful. 33 and 6 to 7 into 8. Yeah, man. And man, I think the planet is becoming hotter and warmer, right? Did you guys notice this? I honestly think the planet's just rising in heat currently. Or maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. You guys in Europe are probably freezing your butts off or something. But isn't it the summertime? In the summer, okay? Anyway, so then we go into the heart chakra. I am everything, right? I am everything. Hey, in the heart chakra, you might experience a dark night of the soul, okay? You might experience a martyrdom or a feeling of like, I'm not good enough, right? This kind of thing. The positives is that you have a deep interest in spiritual growth and non-judgment. So you're very aware of the inner world and love and gratitude and, you know, higher states of mind, joy. You know, we had Jubilant June and now we have Juggernaut July, right? There's a difference, but it's still the same theme, right? Finding the sounds of joy, and then we're becoming the bulldozer slowly, right? So, right, what summer looks like December here. Great. So, cultivating inner silence, again, you're learning detachment at this level of the heart chakra. And you're learning about heartbreak. You're learning about love because you are that love, right? So then finally you raise to the throat chakra and you have this extreme sensitivity to things, right? A lot of empaths experience this kind of throat chakra understanding of that there's too much input, right? And you kind of get lost in emptiness, but then there's also a frequent bliss state. So you're actually blissed the fuck out, okay? Without really doing much in the throat chakra level. And you have an allegiance to telling the truth. So whenever you feel like you're, you know, fabricating something or lying something, the throat chakra is not there's not a correct filter there, right? There's like something off with your throat chakra in a sense. And especially if, like, I've noticed at least, like, I'm not, you know, I'm sober for this month, I'm not smoking, I'm not doing anything, you know, I'm not drinking, I'm not, caffeine is probably the only one that I'm still, you know, following through on. But I've noticed something, you know, like the need to constantly, you know, binge eat or watch something, or like getting back into the senses, right? I noticed that. Now there's something called Savikalpa Samadhi. There are different levels of Samadhi, right, in the Hindu system. So it's quite interesting when you really look into it. And there's also, this is where also you practice Uwe, or like practice non-doership. And these people who are throat chakra beings, man, they're just so happy within themselves. They find the delight. Listen, this was the quote that he gave, right, from the Bhagavad Gita 5:24. Those who are happy with themselves enjoy the delight of God within, and are illuminated by the inner light. Such are the ones that are united with the Supreme and are liberated from material existence. Okay, this is the throat chakra level. This is the I am everything level, right? Awakening level, you could say. Then you have I am the self, or the third eye, where you get the siddhis, okay? You get the spiritual power-ups in the video game, right? You get all the yogic powers and all of these things, right? You get God absorption, you're in abiding bliss. Now there's a lot of spiritual masters at this state, right? We're abiding in bliss, no inner or outer world. They only speak and act for the benefit of others. They're not speaking for themselves. They're speaking for the benefit of the collective, correct? And they're piercing through the nothingness and the void, right? So this is where you also practice channeling, is through the third eye, okay? The channeling state is up there, and actually the channeling state is through the crown. However, it builds a gateway, it builds a bridge from your ajna, towards your sahasrara, or crown chakra, okay? I understand the craving for stimulation comes from the underfeeling and overthinking, at least for me. Well, overthinking is underfeeling, I would say. Hemisync reduces all my cravings, which is powerful. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And again, I think that requires some level of spiritual EQ to understand coherence and, you know, hemisphere synchronization and this stuff. Again, someone could do that very logically, or like me in the gym, you know, every single rep I'm doing like brain gym, I'm just, you know, crossing my, you know, legs over and so forth, okay? So that's random. Astolics, okay? How is it measured? Usually it's measured through the scale that Aaron came up with. Now, I don't agree particularly with the scale. I think us as Primal Sutra, we can create a better scale, okay? Let me tune into Ryan G's spiritual intelligence. 2, 3. Yeah, so Ryan is like at a 7.5. And should I test myself? I'm like at an 8. So that's pretty high, right? That's still pretty high. But yeah, 1 to 10 scale we can do. Like I muscle test, obviously, so I can muscle test for you how high your spiritual intelligence is. Get into a session with us, or one of us. Get into the tribe, you know. We have a podcast today, okay? So tune in. I believe it's 9:30 a.m. PST, okay? So, no, 9 a.m., my bad. That's my time, 9:30. So, 9 a.m. PST, okay? My time, 9:30 p.m., okay? IST. So, it's measured by state of being and stability of awareness. Material results as spirituality expresses in form. I'm between 6 to 8. Yeah, that's right, Mathis. 10 out of 10 is like very, like not many people are there, let's just say, okay? And again, this is trainable, and the more that you cultivate this for yourself, you have a good self-awareness, you tune in with yourself, you ask yourself questions, you know? And, PM. Well, I'm saying that that's the time for the podcast, Aswin. I'm not saying that that's the time now. The time now is like 2:42 p.m. Okay? So, let's tap in. Okay, let's tap in. Let's continue with this. So, constant state of bliss, psychic gifts, permanent flow state. Okay? People who reach the third eye are in a permanent flow state. They're just tapped the fuck in. Okay? Everything that they're doing is just simultaneously merging subject and object, action and awareness merging with everything, right? It's about spiritual intelligence, Aswin. Okay? We have emotional intelligence, okay? Are you good at being social with people? Are you good at talking with others, right? You have an intelligence, you have a physical intelligence. Some people are just know how to work with their bodies, right? There's a high level of physical intelligence. But then there's also spiritual intelligence, which I believe this is like a key to raise all of them, okay? I'm gonna close this. It's annoying me. All right. So I believe what Osho and others got is the results in materiality, which our cravings show us, I guess. He had many sexual partners, I believe, 20. Dude, he had like 98 Rolls Royces. Okay? I'm going to speak about this, bro. I think it's really interesting of a topic. I honestly think Osho was taken over by a being or an entity during the later part of his life. That's why he was getting high off of laughing gas and all sorts of stuff, right? This is all secretive stuff, and again, we can't talk too much about it, but again, I know people who were also in the Osho's ashram. My past Tantra teacher was also in Osho's ashram, by the way. She learned directly from that time. She's quite in her 40s, so you would know that, you know. Yeah, it's powerful. Hey there, gaming buddy. Yeah, I remember you, man. What's up? Manifesting powerhouse. Nice. Yeah, man, he's a manifester, right? Like, if you think about it, really, like, he took the spirituality and then he brought it into materiality with the 98 Rolls Royces and so forth. So that's one way to look at it, too. And, you know, I think a lot of people complain because they watch the Netflix stuff, the documentaries, the Wild West, you know, Wild West country or whatever. And they get freaked out, honestly. When they see Rajneeshpuram, I mean, it's just a bunch of, you know, it's like a hippie commune, in a sense, and they get freaked out. And I get that, right? That's just, I mean, it's ignorance, really, is what it is, because we don't really, we're judging the man still, right? You know what I mean? It's like, why are you judging him? Like, let him live, you know? Anyway, I'm Osho reincarnated according to the deities. Anyway, I'm fine, good. So, let's move on, okay? Very few have been in singularity, no identity, beyond dualities, you know? Sahaja. Sahaja samadhi means natural, right? Natural samadhi. I am the truth, right? That Jesus said, I am the truth. He was in the crown. Not many people can reach this, I don't think. Well, no, actually, Jesus was in the third eye. I don't think anyone can tap into the crown that easy. Or maybe Jesus was in the crown, actually. Crowd level. Very few people can make it there. You know what I mean? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. I and my father are one. We have no knowledge beyond level. And desire to realize one's full potential. Okay, spiritual intelligence. Yeah, so let's talk about what is Shiva really, right? So Shiva is pure consciousness that doesn't identify with anything. Okay? Divine masculine is complete and absolute zero. Okay? I'll yappuccino on your face, bro. Okay? Our consciousness interacts with the external world, right? Our five senses. And when it interacts, it is Shiva. During sleep, it tries to be Shiva, but guess what? Our body still breathes. Our body's breath is telling us, and our eye, we get REM, a rapid eye movement, correct? When we sleep as well. There's different phases of sleep too, right? And what Mathis sent me today about, you know, if you're sleeping too long, might be that you need to spend some time in the astral, my friends. Okay? If there might be some higher level downloads for you there that you're not looking at. Okay? Very powerful reminder, you know. For a lot of people, you know, they might have insomnia or like not, like when you gain a lot of Kundalini awakening and there's too much energy, right? Way too much sexual energy. Whoa, bro, right? When you have that, you have to know how to ground it down, pull it up to your heart, right? Mula Bandha. These are all practices that the ancient sages have taught us, right? Through Kundalini yoga and so forth, right? So you got to know what those are, right? You can't just go on this process not knowing it and just kind of getting swayed by these energies all the time. You got to know what it's about, okay? Only the result can prove that the action was right or wrong. Is it right? I don't even see it as right or wrong. Is it working for me or is it not? Okay? Don't get trapped in like some kind of moral dilemma, bro. You know? But yes, results prove it, you know? Energy work. That's right. That's right. That's the secret. That's like the missing piece, I feel like, for spiritual intelligence is energy work. There's a lot of people who are like fake energy workers. Like I was talking to this chick on Monkey, right? Who's from Addis Ababa, right? And I was telling her I speak to spirits and so forth. She's like, yeah, but you know, a lot of people in my community, they lie about seeing spirits. And my mother always says that she sees spirits. And you know, there's like this weird like dogma still in Yoruba traditions or even in Africa, you know? Like even here, you know, a lot of the youth are like, why should I follow this puja that my dad or my mom is telling me to do, right? Why can't I find my own relationship to Shiva? Why do I have to follow it exactly like the way that, you know, these people are teaching it? I know a lot of people like that, in fact. Okay? I asked the Uber drivers here or the auto rickshaw drivers here that, you know, which deva do you really love and believe in, right? Act with no desire. So, in our sleep, it's still trying to be Shiva, but we still breathe, so we're still identified with the body, correct? So we're not really Shiva when we're sleeping either, you know? This physical dream is inside an astral dream, which is inside the causal dream, which is inside, you know, Vishnu's dream, which is, again, it's like dream within a dream. It's inception, bro. This thing is entirely inception. And when you get that, it changes you. It evolves you. You know, according to the Mahavidyas and like the different, you know, the deities that stay within each of the chakras, there's, you know, many different versions of like the way that the self manifests or consciousness manifests through these different deities, right? And so they believe that multi-dimensional entities are actually giving us this life force or this energy into the three-dimensional world, right? So I find that very fascinating. And in order to transcend, you can't judge, right? You can't judge Shiva, you can't judge Shakti. It just is what it is, baby. That's what all the ascended masters did. Absolute zero is like a musical instrument that's not being played. You get that? You can have astral meetings before real life events, even warnings. Yep. Absolutely. I love having astral meetings. It's the best thing ever. I've gotten the astral cops, or whatever you want to call them, the protectors or guardians of the astral. They've gotten a little bit more friendlier last time around that I visited the astral. I think it was a few nights ago, 3 nights ago. They've gotten a little bit more nicer. I don't know why, right? Usually they're like blank-faced, like kind of just entities interacting, like, you know? They're kind of freaky. This time, like, oh, what are you doing here? You know? I kind of engaged with it. It was weird. It seemed nicer, the energy at least. So maybe it's just a state of my own consciousness, right? Being reflected back towards me. That could be the case, right? Yeah, some are just tricksters, like the, you know, the clockwork elves when you see DMT or whatever, you know, like, yeah, I get it. They're there, you know, there are lots of those trickster beings that just stay there and they just interact, you know, they're just playful. They don't really do much. They're just floating around in the astral, right? Some of the beings, they're just like kind of like amoeba or some shit, right? Like I've experienced that too. We could just make an astral greeting card. That's wonderful. Yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, we did do that with our family tree. Remember, Ryan G? We have a Primal Sutra family tree where certain beings that try to approach us or attack us in the astral, they see it like a bat signal and then they kind of shoo away, or they, you know, redirect their movements. But think about this. If love is the emotion that binds us to this universe, then love is the emotion where you're also ready to sacrifice everything for love. Like, how many people do you know sacrifice everything for love, right? That's the energy of love, though. In absolute zero, There's no thought, there's nothing, okay? The self is not there, and it cannot be expressed through words or force or any of that, you know? So you're saying you love your dog. Would you sacrifice your entire life for your dog? That's not love, right? Love is like, I'm giving up everything for this shit. Come on now, right? Now, I'm not saying to drop everything, drop all the material, just drop your attachment to it. You get it? Drop your clinging to it. That's why Avatar Aang, right? He couldn't go into the crown chakra because he was so attached to Kira or whatever. Like, he was so attached to this realm. Like, what do you mean? My family, though, and my body and my home and my, you know? So we can learn from these animes too, honestly. I think Jujutsu Kaisen has a high level of occult symbolism that a lot of people don't know. I might break down some animes, guys. It's a fun thing to do. I've done it before on this channel, breaking down different shows and so forth. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Discipline and surrender together. That's the trick of the flow state, right? You understand that. It's a letting go, but it's also a cultivation consciousness, right? In Sanskrit or in Hindi, you would say kritajna. Kritajna is the word for gratitude. But if you really break the word down, jna, okay, J-N-A, or ajna, same thing, is a state of consciousness. So kritajna is cultivation consciousness, which is the word for gratitude. So if you don't cultivate your gratitude, if you don't harvest the right seeds of gratitude, how is it going to blossom into a manifestation or something epic, right? This is why we have the energy of gratitude being like a supernova for your manifestations, because you're like, hey, it's already here. It's already mine, baby. It's already golden. Come on, I already have it. Yeah, I feel into it, okay? I close my eyes, I'm in Paris. I smell the croissant, the baguette, you know? All of that. Immediately, right? Yes, it is Master Rinpoche. That's correct. It's Padmasambhava. Good eye, Kemp. Very good. I drew this, by the way. I think I'm going to color it in, too. But this was my devotion to him. He's one of the guides, deities I work with, and amazing energy. Absolutely phenomenal. Om Ahum Vajraguru Paramasidhi Om Ahum Vajraguru Paramasidhi Om. Just listen to that mantra and you'll be fresh and whole. Let's see here. Man, I'm sweating in this. Looks good though. Looks like I'm kind of like glowing. I'm shining because of the sweat. All right. I'm gonna end it soon, guys. Okay, in like 4 minutes. So ask any questions. Ask away about anything. They're bound by their rules. Some are just tricksters. Oh, I read that. African dream root. Ooh, it's powerful. I managed to get lucid and manifested actually through the astral for another person back in 2017. Haven't done it since then. I guess here comes the reminder. Yes, our Master Rinpoche. Wonderful. I actually gave a little Padmasambhava statue to my Sangha. I'm in the J. Tsongkhapa tradition camp, so I'm in the new Kadampa tradition. And I just love the Jochen, you know, the practices of Padmasambhava, and he's one of my favorite beings ever. I really resonate, because think about it, he's all of the masculine archetypes at once, you know? He's a king, he's a warrior, he's a magician, he's a lover, correct? Yeah. I love all the yadams. They're so amazing and beautiful. The art and the tankas, and I love them. Love them. Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Cool, guys. Any other questions? Anything coming up around spiritual intelligence? Okay. Again, how do you know? Let's go back to what we said in the beginning. How fast can you integrate your self-awareness? Have you ever had an intuition that was so sharp that it was freaky? Okay. Can you recognize truth from falsehood? Can you see through the BS of the matrix, right? Can you see through the lies and the distortions of people, right? You guys wouldn't be here if you knew I was like a grifter, or like a spiritual grifter, like just kind of like, oh, good, tell me your numerology numbers. I'll break them down, and you know. You guys have that much intuitiveness that you're actually listening to this message, which I really appreciate, you know. The people who are here are meant to be here. And not everybody, yes, I get it, not everybody can go from insanity to singularity in just a week, right? It's not like that, right? We have a journey. This is a journey. Don't get attached to the end result. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the actual awakening, the process of unfolding it, right? There's such a beauty to this thing. And I think that once we recognize that I'm not the body, I'm not the person, I'm not, you know, so hum. Okay, so hum, sheeple hum. I am that I am. And the real key there in the abundance code, I am, is the little comma. That little comma is all you need. I am that I am is strung together. I am, comma, that I am. Right? So when you say the word present, it's like a full stop. When you say the word presence, it keeps going. It's like a tire being punctured, right? Presence, I'll stop when I want to stop, right? But present moment stops. So be in presence, not at the present moment, okay? That's what I want to leave with. I think it's really important to end with this, because a lot of people, they meditate for 5 minutes in the morning and their head is all over the place the rest of the day, correct? So I'm saying embody those teachings. The embodiment and the integration is one of the most important ways that you can raise your SQ levels. Of course, we have our own mystical path working, a mystery school where you teach this stuff. We're incredibly, you know, inspired by this flow state collective. Why we're on an accelerating flow state collective, helping people evolve on their spiritual mastery through spiritual intelligence, lessons, and teachings. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. That's one of our adepts right there. You can hear it from his language, okay? Let's get it, okay? Upward Spiral Gang, may we never be the same again. Okay? Hey, Jack, you missed it, catch the replay, okay? Let's go. Osa. We're all gonna make it. I'll see you guys in the Astral, okay? Yeah.